everybody. I'm Dr. Nadia Azar with Drum Talk TV here at NAMM Show 2019. I'm here at the Drum Talk TV booth. I've got April Samuels with me. She is a breast cancer survivor and is the founder of Breast Cancer Can Stick It. April, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. And we're also glad that you guys are here because this is the first of our live Q&A sessions. So April and I are going to chat, but while we are talking, I'd like you guys to chime in. I've been asking drummers questions all day about what kind of drumming injuries they've had, so I'd like to hear the same from you. If you're at home, you can't be at the NAMM show, comment in. Tell me what kind of injuries you've had, maybe what you've done to try to deal with them, and we'll try to take some questions as we go. So April,
yes.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about, have you ever experienced drumming-related injuries?
Yeah, actually, I had carpal tunnel syndrome back in 1998, and I ended up having surgery for it. It was in my left hand, which is weird. I'm right-handed, but I hit much harder with my left hand because I have all that time to just really smack it. So I actually had digital nerve injury as well as carpal tunnel, so I had surgery for both at once.
Oh, wow, both at once, okay. And what was the recovery like for that?
I believe I was out for about a month and a half. I had to do a lot of physical therapy for it and everything. It was really scary because I, like most of your viewers out there, love drumming, and I'm very passionate about it. I've been doing it since I was very little. And so I was really scared to tamper with, my tools,
Yeah, absolutely. And so have you had...
not really. A little bit earlier today that my left hand has never really gotten back as fast, I feel like, as my right hand. It's still a little bit behind. I know it's going to be that way anyway since I'm, right hand dominant, but, it still feels a little stiff. It's better than it was, though, because, I was losing the feeling in my finger, completely.
Yeah.
So I had to do something. So I was really glad that we were able to make that change. It was a long time ago, too.
Yeah. So what do you do now in terms of, a warm-up or something to prepare yourself to start playing?
That's a good question. One thing that keeps me from getting injuries as frequently nowadays is I play a lot more in general. So being able to play a lot more throughout the week, play about 120 shows a year right now, and so being more active has made me less injury prone. And of course, anytime before a gig, I stretch out. The band that I'm in, we're very active and animated, so we have to stretch out everything, our legs and our arms and everything. There's a lot of choreographed stuff going on, so we do a lot of stretching out in the backstage area. So, yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's great. And that's, you bring up a good point about playing more, sort of preparing you to be able to play more, but there is also a fine line where you could, if you cross over the edge, you could get into the territory where you're playing so much that you're actually potentially setting yourself up for repetitive use injury as well.
Yeah.
So, it's a really fine line to manage that.
Yeah.
So,
I've had other injuries too. I mean, I've had a lot of back problems from playing. When you're a drummer, you're kind of at an awkward angle, right? And so I had a lot of back injuries from that, and I learned really quickly. I was on medication like Lyrica and stuff like that, and that stuff's not... Boxing, I did CrossFit, things like that where I've really built up my core so I could stop taking that medication and I'm not having near the back problems. I used to have to wear all that Kinesiology tape or whatever it's called all over me when I used to gig, and now that's all better. So it's really
that's fantastic. Good to know that all those things have helped. So that's really good for the viewers to hear. And speaking of viewers, are there any questions coming up, Dory? No, not. So, okay, well, if you're still there and you want to chime in with those comments, we would love to take some questions. So what about working? So you mentioned that you do CrossFit. Is there anything else that you do in terms of weights or yoga or anything like that?
I don't do yoga. I did Pilates for a little while, which is really good for helping strengthen your core as well. Kickboxing is my big thing right now. Kickboxing is very cardio. There's a great warm-up associated with that. I do a lot of walking, and I do a lot of playing with my drums too. All that stuff is really helpful. I used to do a lot more weights, but I'm not right now. But I think Pilates is a really good thing, for strengthening your core for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned about playing and playing being a calorie burner. You were showing me your Fitbit screen earlier today. So April wears her Fitbit while she plays so she can get some idea of what her energy output is. And that little bar graph that you showed me is really neat because you can absolutely see the spike in the data on the days where you're having a gig. So
yeah, I mean, actually, playing drums is like the best cardio that I get every week, hands down, the best cardio. If you just started out playing drums, play more, man. It is great exercise. It's the reason that I'm in shape, playing about 120 shows a year. You know, earlier we were talking, and I know this isn't like a physical injury, like a sprain or anything like that. Everything is like great that I've encountered. And I've lost a lot of hearing in my left, because as drummers, they put the monitor on your left side. So I have almost no high frequency in this ear. So I really wanted to point out that it's super important to wear hearing protection, have in-ear monitors and things like that. Sorry, I had to plug that in there because I think it's so important, you know?
Absolutely. No, it's definitely important. And I love that you made the point about the cardio. You know, it's me, I hate doing cardio. So to have a cardio, like something to do that's a really good workout and is fun, is a really great thing. So I'm told that we have a question, so I'm just going to lean a little closer so I can actually hear it. Okay, Dory's going to tell me the question.
It's from Brian Vax, and Brian says, what can I do for my trapped ulnar nerve? Left pinky and ring finger are numb and tingle 24/7.
Okay, trapped left ulnar nerve. So you probably didn't hear the question.
Oh, ulnar nerve?
Yeah, so this viewer said he has, what can he do about a trapped ulnar nerve? Because he's got tingling and numbness in his ring and pinky finger all the time. So that is obviously a nerve entrapment issue. That's definitely something that you would want to get checked out by a physician and who can refer you to a specialist. I've actually had some, not drumming related, but I have had some work related ulnar nerve issues too. And what I found helpful was I went to my chiropractor and he did some myofascial work. So this myofascial stripping, and that helped a lot because I was having the same thing, the numbness, tingling in my ring and pinky finger. And once he got in there and did that, it's not pleasant, but it helped a lot. So that's maybe something you can try.
You know, when we were talking earlier, I told you, I was like, yeah, I've had like every injury known to man. In fact, I was diagnosed with an ulnar because the worst time for that nerve, they said, is when you're sleeping. So my doctor told me. And so I did that for a while and really helped calm that down. I know it sounds crazy. And of course, physical therapy did really well for that. And then you were mentioning the myofascial release. Arosty is great. I've done Arosty before, which is...
I don't even know what that is.
It's myofascial release. They're doctors that you go in and that's all they do is myofascial release. It's amazing. Arosty, check it out. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Thank you for sharing that. That's great.
Full of all kinds of useless information today.
Yeah, I think you were mentioning earlier that you wrote about this once before on your blog. Is it a blog or just your website?
It was our website. It was a really long time ago, like in the late 90s, because I had, you know, carpal tunnel syndrome. I had the digital nerve injury. I actually injured my foot because I like to play. At that time, I like to play barefoot all the time, which is not good for you. So don't do that because it puts a lot of extra strain on your foot. So I had to be on crutches for that for a while. I've had lots of weird stuff. The hearing thing was another thing I mentioned on there. So yeah, it's a dangerous sport, man. It really is.
It is, but there's lots of stuff that you can do to try to, you know, mitigate some of that danger and take care of yourself and make sure that you can play healthy and for a long time, right? So Dory, do we have any more questions coming through? No? Okay, well, I think we'll wrap it up here then. So thank you so much, April, for joining me. I really
Thanks for having me.
being here. And thanks to everyone who commented in and who is watching. Thanks so much for joining me, Dr. Nadia Azar and April Samuels on Drum Talk TV. And stick around, lots more coming up with me and the rest of the Drum Talk TV team.